All right, Cyber Traders, welcome on back here this Tuesday afternoon, end of the month to all of us here live. Just joining us, Carla, Warren, Mark, had John before, had Mark just a moment ago, Manuel. Great to see all of us here collectively inside our live trading room. You could hear me. Hopefully, you could see me coming up right there. There we go. Got webcam working today. How about that? Great to have all of us back on social media, Facebook Live or YouTube. So without further ado, let's hop right into it here, folks. Market ended up just pulling back a small bit. S&P, or the SPY at rather, ended up topping off right under 400 once again today. Very strong level going into today and likely for the rest of this week. But with that, though, I mean, hey, we have this SINT stock on the screen here. And even our top percent gainer, that CDIO, is still showing us a lot of life right now going into the close. But really quick housekeeping note to begin, just for all of us inside the live trading room. We just conducted our Traders Talk workshop earlier today. If you had missed out on that, we'll have the recording of that posted later on this afternoon. It's typically up within 24 hours, but we'll have that up by this afternoon, if anything. Now, for all of us in social media, Facebook Live, LinkedIn, Twitter, YouTube, I appreciate you folks joining us each and every afternoon. We'll try and post a small clip actually on our YouTube channel by tomorrow. But otherwise, if you wanted the full workshop, the full edition, including next week's live workshop, go right down to the link on the green banner below the stream right there to get yourself set up, to get yourself started. But SINT, at least, to go back to the chart to begin. So Warren, one of our students that I had met personally at our on-site class last week back in Jacksonville. It was great meeting Warren. He had a great call out just a moment ago. You know, SINT pushing back on up at the highs. Most recently, it rebroke above big volume level here off 280 and led to the squeeze back up here to 293. So right now, I'll put this on our watch list to begin. It's up big. It's at the highs. Not only that, this stock took a huge hit back in the beginning of this very month, dropped off and then had a huge gap down. I don't think we had traded the stock back then, but obviously easy to kind of see here. Now, I don't know if it's going to make a complete gap fill today or into tomorrow, but this is definitely a potential short squeeze. For as much as it dropped off, you're going to begin to see the shorts cover and continue to cover here heading into this afternoon. But it's got to break above resistance, the next big level here off of 3. About 18,000 shares sitting on the ask right now. After that, maybe a little guy at 310 there, but otherwise, it's already at big resistance here, 290, 280. So 3 is the next one. If it could really make a strong break over 3, I'd think that this has a really good chance to run higher into the close. Still be mindful about that 310, but those are the bigger levels to follow for right now. I'm going to put this at least on our list to begin. A good call from our student Warren. So with that, now Carlo, one of our students, also ended up calling out CDIO, just popped right now back over 3. And I'm not in this right now. I had this from Traders Talk earlier today, or prior to Traders Talk during the morning commentary. It got in off at 3. It was a quick 19-cent trade for me there, and I left some money on the table. Ended up actually running up towards that 340, 350, big resistance, and from there it did the head fake. So, after that point, I took my eyes off this stock. I really didn't focus on it after. I was talking to one of my traders on a coaching call earlier saying, well, hey, the more times that this needles $3 and tests it, it should crash it and break it to the point where, well, look at the daily chart. This could be a gap fill. So there is a lot of risk with trying to trade this stock, not just like mid-afternoon, but it's a repetitive level test here, so you'd assume 3 to get broken through and for it to really break lower, but thankfully provided one more up opportunity, broke under 3, it took its time, and then popped and made that break back over 3. So, going into the close, is it possible for this to run up once more? Well, seeing this here, I think there's a better chance now than there was from 130. It has to flip the VWAP back into support. If not that, then just blast this 340 level again and run higher. I'll give it another look. Here. I like the SINT trade, at least for right now, a little bit more. All right, guys. So, hey, let's go from top to bottom here. Otherwise, I got a coaching call with one of our students coming up at 3. I want to make sure I'm good to go for that. So let's go from top to bottom here. LHDX. Look at this. This thing is flying higher into the afternoon. It's a cheapie. Normally, I wouldn't be as inclined to follow a stock below $1, but on the times that I am, it's when it's making a move like this. The question is, has it already made the majority of its move? Is there a lot left on this run? Your next major resistance would be off of 1. So if the stars could align, and hell, if this could pop another 10, 11 cents, oh my God, that would be incredible, right? I mean, hell, 11, 10 cents on a 90 cent. That's obviously a huge gain, like 15% gain roughly there. So, hey, I'm gonna put this on our list. But for as much as this is running up and up, I mean, even right now, there might be a halt coming in here soon. So that's one thing to say. But otherwise, though, the more times it runs up, I would expect a major resistance to hold. A dollar, if it ends up testing and breaking over a dollar, I'd expect a big false breakout at first. So just be careful. All right, MTC, not doing a whole lot here. Popped a little bit earlier from the morning, but volume peaked and died off. We talked about that in Traders Talk earlier today too. Beavis. BVS. Fausto kind of nicknamed this Beavis, like Beavis and Butthead. Ended up having a nice pop after the open. We ended up going over this briefly, and 215 became an interim support level here. Not really a lot of volume on the offer here to deem that as a definitive support, but it got the job done. Led to the higher high later. But from that point, though, died off, pulled back now too. So I don't think it's going to make as good of a move off of 2 now. Like if anyone took the trade a few minutes ago right at 2, you're up a few pennies. It's a nice entry, but I don't know if it's going to really create that better opportunity going into the close. I mean, it's just trending straight down off the highs, right? Got to follow a stock at the highs or at the lows of the day right now if you're going to look to go long or short, respectively. Speaking of which, BLBX pushing back on up once again today. This stock was from yesterday also. It was like a pop and drop. So if I recall, maybe I even had this on the afternoon list yesterday about 24 hours ago. Nope, I didn't have this on the main watch list in the afternoon, but if I look at my notepad right now, I have it on my side list right here from yesterday afternoon. I wrote it down on the side, but ended up dumping off prior to 3 p.m., and we didn't really look at it since, it looks like. But hey, having a good day right now, breaking back over a dollar. A lot of volume filled off the consolidation at that price. So better chance now than, honestly, 24 hours ago. Another cheapie, but BLBX, why not? CBIO, definitely not looking good. All right, we keep it going here for right now, folks. The RYAM trade, this stock actually we did really well on a year or two ago, I recall. Maybe it was from the end of 22, but man, it seemed like a little before that, maybe from like 20 into 21. But we ended up doing well on this trade at some point a year or so ago. Former runner, so to say. So, just because it was a former runner doesn't mean I'm going to be as inclined to follow it now. The fact it's at the highs, not bad. I just wish it had more volume on the order book. Pretty scarce volume across the bid and the ask. Kind of tight spread for right now, so that I appreciate, but I'll come back to it if I need to. RYAM, I'll kind of keep it on the side. Had a pop and a halt earlier on ARNC. I'd be more inclined to follow this. I mean, hey, if it got popped or if it popped earlier and got halted, perhaps that could set some alerts off, some triggers, and more eyeballs catch on to this trade heading into the close. You would think if that were to be the case, then, I mean, hey, for as much as it popped here and consolidated, like, why hasn't it moved since? It's been like, 45 minutes really at this point, or 40 minutes? So, maybe it's waiting till that 3:30 move, but, I'll write it down on the side list, kind of come back to it at the end if I need to. All right. Let's see what else we got here on the gainer side. Otherwise, Fausto's Hims trade. That was a nice pop from earlier. He was really head on with this one. Ended up topping off though right above 1150. Tried to lead you on here, holding over 1150, setting up for a potential higher high going into the mid afternoon, but ended up dumping off after. So the Hims trade ran nicely from the morning, but at this stage now, lower high. You assume I don't know if it's going to make a lower low per se, but it's just going to fall into this consolidation at least. So for right now, not really too keen on it. Had the Amarin trade at AMRN. Definitively, this stock was a runner for us back over like the last 4 or 5 years. On the way up, on the way down, before COVID even. Yep, exactly, right here. This stock ended up making this a weekly graph you're looking at, but on a daily chart, ended up gapping up one morning in pre-market, and just ever since ended up remaining within this range for quite some time. So we're actually really familiar with Amarin. Myself, Leda, Phil, Ray, perhaps Grant, obviously, Glenn. These are all students that were with us back then. We're really familiar with the stock. The fact it's at the highs today, I'm a fan of. and it's trading definitely some pretty big volume for the stock. So I'll put this on our main list here, AMRN. All right, to wrap up the gainer side here, damn, coin has just consistently gone up across the whole day. Not necessarily like the most volatile stock, like from the morning session. I was kind of saying, like, we've seen the stock make a better pop for prime time trading. Not even in terms of percent wise, but like the volatility, the piece of it. So over time, I really kind of turned my head away from it, and man, this thing's just gone straight up since. So I didn't really see crypto make as good of a move today, but coin definitely benefiting right now, and I'd assume Mara to be the same. If I can go back here really quick. I assume wrong. You assume you're making an ass out of yourself, right? Mara not really looking nearly as good or at the highs like Coinbase is right now towards its. A little expensive, but I'll put this on our main list also for right now. Let's see if Coinbase holds support here, makes a higher high later on. All right, to wrap up the gainer side here, I did not really see much else that stood out like name brand wise or any familiar names at least. So VTNR I'll look at briefly from earlier, had called it out off a small pop, but not really doing a whole lot since. All right, let's hop over to the loser side right now, seeing if there's anything looking just as good, if not better. You got MFH. This has to be a glitch on TradeStation. I have never legitimately have ever seen a stock down 99.72%. It's got to be some sort of like split or some glitch there. But we keep moving though. We've seen stocks down 67%, like APTX. This thing took a huge hit overnight, but a little too close to the ground floor here for my liking. Right? Pretty close to zero. Can't really look to short it. The IPDN, though, I mean, if you can get the shares to short it, that's a different story. It's hard to borrow on my platform, and the liquidity is kind of scarce, kind of thin here on level 3. So it doesn't really make the greatest opportunity in that sense, but it's at the lows, right? So should it break lower, that can make for a nice continuation. Let's see if there's anything easy to borrow, something more liquid perhaps. LPSN, I mean, hey, this actually fits the shoe, right? Or it fits the foot. So it ended up dropping off from earlier. It just looks really slow right now. It's been flat, hasn't gone much of anywhere really since. I'd rather at least have a little trend at this point recently. So maybe I'll keep it on the side list. I'll write it down just at the end. Right now, so far we have 6 stocks on our main list. So not bad so far. We don't really have a need to put too many more on there right now. I think that might just about do it, actually. I don't really see much else that looks good. Some stocks shortable, but not really trading a whole lot of volume or otherwise out of a price range, really. All right. Mark says Mara reports tonight, so even further reason for us to not really follow it right now. Don't really look to follow stocks right before earnings. And that's kind of odd because AMC ended up popping up early this morning, and I think they also report after the close today too, right? So, that was a little interesting to see from the morning session, but obviously now at this point, AMC took such a huge hit. Goes to show my levels played out pretty damn nicely there. Wow, 715. I didn't even remember I plotted a line there from pre-market this morning. Ended up bottoming out perfectly, bounced back up to my 750. I'd assume that yellow line there at 761 to act as resistance. But otherwise, though, going into earnings, not going to be as keen to follow it. Tomorrow morning, though, that's different. That's a different story. Much needed water break right there, energy drink break there. All right, so what else we got here, folks? Social media, Facebook Live, LinkedIn, Twitter, YouTube. I'm going to type my email address early for you folks right there. Any questions, thoughts, comments, suggestions, let me know. Shoot me a quick email, josh@ctutrading.com. But let me know if there's anything else up, down, left, right, though, that you want me to look at, anything that I missed out on. Checking Benzinga Pro right now. Don't really see too much. Not a whole lot that we missed, and it's fun. Did our job. IBIO, AMRS. This doesn't look half bad, so it's at the highs there at least. Maybe write that down on your side list. I forgot about Carvana, actually. Carvana had a nice little move earlier today in the early afternoon. MRSN, I kind of turned over to this from Benzinga. It's not really trading any good volume right now, so, and I say that in terms of the active volume traded on the day. Spreads actually don't look terrible. It's up over 10%. So actually, I'm going to write it down on my side list here so I don't forget it, but I'm not going to put this on our main list just yet. Carvana, right? There we go. That's one I'll write down on our main list. CVNA. All right. This is looking obviously very strong still. We had called out resistance off of 2 levels earlier, off of 990, which it held right there, and then 10. Those were the 2 big levels to watch going into this meeting. So it's still going to take it's going to take a lot of effort, a lot of momentum, a lot of buying pressure in order for this to not just break above 10 or 990, but for it to actually make like a respectable run for you to make money off of, like a real move. So that's what I'm a little concerned about here. It looks great, but hopefully there's a lot more left on this, and we'll see if it can make the re-break over 10 perhaps over time. But yeah, Carvana looking pretty good. I'll put this on our main list. All right, so in total, that leaves us with 2, 4, 6 stocks, 7 in total, including Coinbase, that is. But I know not all of us are trading a 65 or however many dollar per share stock. So, overall, not a bad list. It's really not too big of a list altogether. All right. So, for all of us inside the live trading room, certainly private chat me if you have any other questions. Just here, I'm going to be on the mic, or at least on a coaching call up until 3:30, and then from that point, I'll probably dip out. But let me know if there's any other questions. Otherwise, there's my email address for you on top, just for afterwards. And then for all of us in social media, one last time, enjoy the rest of the day. But if you're interested in joining our live trading room, continuing the audio commentary, go right down to the link on the green banner below. You'll actually get the recording of this morning's workshop that we just did, along with all of the recordings that we've done over the past calendar year, our Traders Talk workshop. But again, you got to be a trial member inside our live trading room to access that. Go right down to the link on the green banner right there to sign up. But for all of us there live right now, Rich will be on the mic at least from 3 to 4 o'clock, wrapping us up going into the closing bell. I'll talk to you all pretty soon. Take care.